Echoes of a forgotten world still lingered in the air, a persistent reminder that the present was a fragile, fleeting thing. Lena stood at the center of the gathering, her eyes fixed on a patch of desolate ground. A tangle of vines and twisted metal had grown in the years since, forming a skeletal tree where a man had once stood. The harka, an ancient symbol carved into the local stone, seemed to mock her, a grim reminder of the chaos that had consumed their world. Memories had always been spotty for Lena, like wisps of smoke that dissipated when she tried to grasp them. But of late, the images had grown sharper, more vivid. Faces and names that once meant nothing now echoed in her mind, memories of loved ones she had lost long before this place. "Haven!" A low voice broke the silence. Ava's eyes were closed, her shoulders tense as if anchored to the earth. Lena felt a pang of guilt, as if she had spoken out loud without thinking. The group's gaze drifted to Ava, a mix of confusion and concern flickering across their faces. "What can't you remember?" Lena asked, a bluntness born of her own desperation. Ava's jaw worked, her eyes still shut, but Lena detected the tremble of her voice when she finally spoke. "Find me, Lena, find me." Lena's heart accelerated as she searched the faces of her companions. Rachel, tall and imposing, with skin as weathered as the rocks she'd once climbed. Elijah, quiet, reserved, but eyes that now held a glimmer of something unexplored. Lena noticed a flicker in Rachel's expression, a split second of emotion that played out before she averted her attention. Something about that brief glance sent a thrill of unease through Lena. She recalled the whispers, the rumors of secrets. A handful of people had remained behind, hidden from the greater world. A select few she now suspected had been spared some unspeakable torment. The older men whispered among themselves now, whispers so urgent, Lena wondered if the world's edge was crumbling. Caleb warned of the rising waves of the past, trying to recall, to rediscover lost knowledge. "In time we'll find our bearings," he urged, but a glint of fear danced within his eyes. Rachel shifted closer, and Elijah took Lena's hand in response, subtly tightening his grip. The world around them shifted, what passed for reality began to warp. Rumors like ripples in a pond's surface. Ripples I couldn't grasp yet, until it was too late. As people's voices continued to murmur in the background, Ava slowly opened her eyes, followed a new kind of unease, and made contact with another one of Lena's friends. Alili stood frozen, his gaze locked onto Ava, as if the connection between them was both weighty and fragile. The air seemed to vibrate with tension, and Lena felt as though she was witnessing a scene unfold that would redefine the dynamics of their tight-knit group. Ava's expression remained enigmatic, but Lena detected a hint of recognition in Ali's eyes. He didn't pull away, and his grip on Lena's hand gentled ever so slightly. This unforeseen contact sent a ripple of curiosity through Lena, who pondered the subtle permutations of their relationships. The Harka's stone seemed to darken, the markings appearing infinitely more menacing. Vines crept up the twisted metal, forming macabre fingers that reached for the sky. If this place still held some tattered essence of a foreign world, its presence was manifest and ominous. Rachel's words were hushed now, drawing a thin veil of secrecy around their discussions. Caleb's warnings painted a picture of an unseen storm, its tempests gathering at the fringes of awareness. Lena couldn't help but wonder about their understanding of this ominous forecast. Just then, Rachel swiftly took a step back, revealing a slight awkwardness that Lena noticed. Caleb barely registered this, transfixed by his own efforts to delve into the depths of forgotten lore. "Tonight, help me test our resolve," he urged aloud. "Consider our resolve. Test we have." Lena felt a chill creeping along her spine, which she worked hard not to reveal. Caleb's eyes hinted at a long-held determination, but his enunciation wavered. Once he delved into this quest, the others remained motionless, pondering the perilous decisions that could set the entire group adrift in an abyss of chaos and uncertainty. As Caleb's voice softened, drawn with anticipation, Ava turned toward Ali. A quiet tension between them released quietly. Ava wasn't quite saying anything, she was simply still, silent, pensive, anticipating. Ali sought her eye contact again, this time asking a silent question that hung in the air like an absence. Ali then turned toward Lena, a mirrored glint rippling through her tight grip on his hand. As they spoke in hushed tones, her thoughts spinning between uncertainty, unspoken certainties, their voices began to stir in some deep places. Ava's eyes landed on Ali, her gaze lingering on his face as if searching for answers. The tension in his grip on Lena's hand tightened, a silent signal between them, a reminder of the fragile bond they shared. Ellie's face was a mask, but Lena glimpsed a flicker of unease beneath, a spark of concern that threatened to illuminate the shadows. For a moment, the world around them melted away, leaving only the quiet desperation that had driven them to this moment. Lena felt the weight of Ava's words echoing within her, the plea to find her, a mystery that only grew more complex with each passing heartbeat. Ellie's grip on her hand remained firm, a lifeline in the turbulent sea of uncertainty. As Ava finally broke the spell, her gaze wandered to Ethan, a silent question lingering in the space between them. Ethan's expression was as impassive as stone, his eyes fixed on some unknown point beyond the gathering. A shiver ran down Lena's spine as she realized the depth of Ava's pain. It was more than a simple memory loss, it was a scream, a desperate cry for help that refused to be silenced. Rachel's voice sliced through the stillness, a forceful command that sent shivers down Lena's spine. "We need to focus, now." She glared around the circle, her eyes a warning that the clock was ticking. "We've got limited time to unravel the threads before the fabric unravels altogether." The group's faces contorted, a mix of fear, confusion, and desperation. Lena felt the fog of doubt creeping in, threatening to consume her. How could they hope to untangle the web of memories, secrets, and lies that had haunted them for so long? The realization dawned that each person held a piece of the puzzle, a fragment that, if pieced together, might just reveal the truth. Ethan took a step forward, his eyes fixed on Rachel. "What do you suggest we do?" His question was direct, but the question behind it lingered, a test of defiance against an unknown future. Rachel's gaze flickered, and for an instant, Lena glimpsed the same fear that had driven Ethan's words. They were facing an unseen enemy, a threat that had been awakened by Ava's memories. The air vibrated with tension as the group hesitated, weighed down by the crushing weight of their own secrets. Rachel spoke up, her voice firm, but a hint of doubt seeped in like silence. "We need to gather all the fragments, memories, pieces of history, every shred of evidence. We can't face the unknown alone. We need to stand together." Lena nodded, her mind racing with the implications. They had to piece together Ava's memory, find the missing threads of her past, and hope that in doing so, they might unravel the mysteries that had haunted them for so long. Ethan's hand remained clasped around hers, a silent reassurance that they were in this together. As echoes of the forgotten world receded into the distance, Lena knew that their journey ahead would be fraught with unknown dangers. But she also knew that together, they might just survive and uncover the hidden truths that would set their world free. Echoes of a forgotten world started to fade, but Lena knew the memories would always linger in the air, an unsettling reminder of the Totro, an ominous sign that stood at the heart of their treasured haven. Ellie's gaze was narrow, piercing through the haze of uncertainty. He reached out, releasing a faint breeze that sent leaves rustling in the distance. The trees seemed to lean in, as if anticipating the words that were sure to follow. What is it, Ava?" Illy asked, his tone measured, yet the words still carrying the weight of expectation. Ava's eyes locked onto Ellie's, a steady connection forged by shared memories. "I see things," she said slowly, the words echoing off the trees. "Faces, places, pain, the taste of salt in my mouth. I want to remember more." The air thickened, heavy with unspoken fears and unresolved questions. Lena felt Elijah's grip tighten, a subtle pressure that spoke of unspoken understanding. Rachel, still nearby, stood like a sentinel, her gaze darting between her companions before returning to Ava. The whispering in the background grew louder, a crescendo of unease that threatened to consume them all. Caleb's warning about the rising waves of the past seemed to reverberate through the air. They were being tested, the foundations of their reality straining under the weight of untold memories. Lena's thoughts swirled, trying to make sense of the images that had begun to flood her mind. The faces swirled together, men and women, children and adults, each one leaving an irretrievable mark on her psyche. She recalled fragments of events, conversations, and silences that seemed to hold so much meaning, yet seemed to belong to someone else altogether. In the midst of this chaos, Lena felt her bond with Ellie, with Rachel, and with the others deepening. They were bound together by memories they couldn't quite grasp and a sense of shared purpose. United in their confusion, they stood as one against the gathering storm. That's when Rachel spoke up, her voice like a rusty gate scraping against the world. "We have to take Ava, somewhere, we need to keep her safe. Lena turned to her friend, confusion etched on her face. Where? She asked, unsure of what lay ahead. Rachel's expression hardened, a glint of resolve in her eyes. Haven, she repeated, her voice firm. We can't stay here, not now, not with everything that's happening. Ellie's grip on Lena's hand tightened, a silent approval that spoke volumes. Together they watched as Ava slowly rose to her feet, her eyes wide, her gaze fixed on something just beyond the group. What's out there? Ava whispered, her voice barely audible over the rising tempest. Rachel's eyes never left Ava's face. We don't know, she said quietly, her words laced with a growing sense of trepidation. But we have to find out. And with that, the group set off, their combined steps echoing through the trees as they ventured into the unknown, with the weight of their troubled pasts bound to their feet, drawing them deeper into the chaos that threatened to consume them all. Ava took a few tentative steps forward, her eyes scanning the horizon as if searching for something tangible in a sea of uncertainty. Elijah's hand remained clutched in hers, his eyes watchful, protective. Meanwhile, Rachel fell back, flanked by Caleb on one side and a quiet, distant Ellie on the other. The air seemed thick with tension, anticipation hanging heavy around them, like an unspoken challenge waiting to be met. As the party ventured further into the depths of Haven, memories began to converge in unexpected ways, echoes of events long past now resonating with a shared sense of unease. A chain reaction of emotions was building, forcing them to confront memories they'd been avoiding, and revealing a hidden world where boundaries between reality and myth blurred, propelling them toward a confrontational reckoning with the past. Uncertainty reigned, but Lena sensed they were progressing toward a critical turning point. Something awaited them on the horizon, lurking beyond the fragile peace they held hold so tenuously. Ava's eyes locked onto Ellie's, her gaze probing as if searching for an unseen truth. Ellie's expression betrayed nothing, but Lena detected a faint unease in his posture, a flicker of emotions he swiftly masked. Their conversation remained hushed, taking place in whispered steps that couldn't yet be heard by the rest of the group. I know where you're from, Ellie said, his eyes dropping, the words unspoken but inevitable. Ava's expression flattened, her jaw working when she attempted to speak. The air thickened, heavy with unspoken questions and unresolved emotions. Lena felt herself walking towards Ava, drawn by an unseen force. Her hand still clasped around Ellie's, Lena managed a brief, sharp rebuke before reclaiming Ava's hand. What were we saying? She asked, but Ava's eyes, flashing between the two, told a different story. The moment passed unmarked, slipping into the present as easily as the memories that now ravaged their lives. They still stood with the Harks, still bled under the relentless rains, still teetered between past actions and crushing aftermath. If Ava remembered remember even, where she'd come from, that complicated her entire mindset. It sparked new fears that maybe the place outside these walls didn't know just how painful it had been. Maybe everything outside shouldn't know. Lena wondered if she was more concerned, Ellie more so. Anyway, because of the unsettling fear of those hidden corners, Lena found herself fearing too. The moment elapsed, sliding back into a tenuous quietude, and Caleb whispered an urgent breath to Rachel, breaking away from Elijah. A fresh anxiety, something unexpected emerging from those earlier rumors, resonated with Ellie's raised worry as well. If it didn't get sorted soon, the delicate structure they'd constructed might crumble beneath an enigmatic storm brewing across the landscape. Ava's eyes locked onto Ellie's, a shared understanding passing between them. Ellie's eyes, usually a deep, calm blue, seemed to hold a hint of longing, a yearning that Lena hadn't seen before. Ava's gaze held a gentle warmth, a healing quality that drew Lena towards them both. It was as if the passing of time had left its mark on these two, imbuing them with a deep affection, one forged in the silence of lost memories. What does it mean? Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if reluctant to shatter the fragile peace. Ellie's grip on Lena's hand tightened, his eyes fixed on Ava's, both of them struggling to find the words. What does mean? Rachel repeated, her voice firm but with an undertone of fear. Caleb's expression betrayed unease, and the older men's whispers escalated, the urgent tones rising to a crescendo. The Harka symbol on the ground seemed to pulse with energy, its power spreading through the group like an electric charge. Ava stepped forward, her eyes still locked on Ellie's. Find me. Lena, she repeated, her voice steady, yet haunted. It was as if she sought more than just a name. She sought a connection, a bridge between the past and present. Rachel's face contorted, her eyes welling up with tears. "I remember," she said, her voice breaking. "I remember every last thing I was supposed to forget." Lena felt a jolt of shock, followed by a mix of emotions, guilt, fear, and concern. How could Rachel tell them? What secrets had they all been hiding? The air was heavy with anticipation, as if time itself was holding its breath. Elijah pulled Lena closer, his voice a low rumble. "Perhaps we can find some solace in the truth." As Rachel's words spilled out, the group's dynamics shifted, old certainties crumbling. The bonds they'd formed, the distances they'd traveled, became irrelevant. Together, they stood at the threshold of a new reality, one forged in the fire of their collective memories. The world around them was alive with possibilities, a tapestry woven from the threads of their shared pasts. A canvas of forgotten stories, lost love, and unseen terror began to reveal itself, whispering secrets that only Lena could hear. "You see," Rachel said, her voice trembling, "we were all more than just friends. We were family." The group stared at her, the implications running wild. In that instant, old demons rose, banished long ago but now freed by the revelations. Caleb's face softened, his rugged exterior cracking to reveal a deep sadness. "I knew," he said, his voice a whisper. "I knew what it was like to lose the ones we loved." Lena watched as families formed and dissolved, bonds strengthened by memories and broken by the weight of reality. With each new revelation, the fabric of their existence began to unravel. The ancient power of the Harka, once a mysterious force, now revealed itself as the embodiment of their collective grief and determination. As emotions swirled and empathy flowed, the room grew quiet, the physical vibrations stifling. With great gravity, they stood, facing an uncertain future. Without making a decision, they became prepared to meet it. Their group had transcended a long past, embracing the brutal truth that we are what we are, defined by all our moments as individuals and as a team, as if attuning to an unspoken understanding for those who knew what the truth foretold. One day we will rediscover the past we thought was lost forever, and have to deal with reality head on.